ahead now because it has been a fantastic weekend. 2 Friday coverage. It was all about mixed pro doubles. Ben Johns partnered alongside Andrea Koop, facing off against Callie Jo Smith and his brother, Colin Johns.
Yeah, Ben has never lost to his older brother, and he did not want it to happen here, and it didn't in this match, but Ben Johns isn't playing today on Championship Sunday. That is a rare sight, but he got this one, but then got upset in the next, and that happens. The GOATs lose.
And Colin Johns with a nice little finesse, but it's out of bounds. Look at this chase. So fun to see Andrea Koop, again, finding herself in a final against a tough team of Lucy Kovaloa and Callie Jo Smith. And then we headed to CBS National, where the Johnsons picked up the victory against Lacey Schneeman and Tyson McGuffin. This is match point, and Johnson & Johnson with their first mixed doubles title together.
Yeah, just so much fun. Youth has been served this week. It certainly will be in the men's doubles final coming up. And just look at the sheer joy on Georgia Johnson's face to win with her brother. I mean, what's better than winning with your brother? Come on.
I mean, we love the sibling love, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, next up is the men's doubles final. Riley Newman and Matt Wright, they have been waiting in the wake right now for this women's doubles to final. They face off against J.W. Johnson, who looks to earn 2 gold on the weekend, next to Dylan Frazier. Can they get it done?
They absolutely can. J.W. Johnson wants this to be his house. He wants to say Newport is mine. But 1 in 5 against Newman and Wright, so they do not have history on their side, but will they get it done today? Their hands are good enough to win.
Well, you said it, 1 and 5 as they get warmed up now on championship court. Dylan Frazier, J.W. Johnson, Riley Newman, and Matt Wright. First serve coming up after this. Men's doubles championship next in store here on Tennis Channel. Best 3 of 5. Matt Wright, Riley Newman, Johnson, and Frazier. That's J.W. Johnson and Dylan Frazier. The 2 versus the 4th seed. Ready and warmed up here on championship court. It has been so fun to see the droves of people showing up in the VIP section, sitting underneath the shade, protecting themselves from the sun, but enjoying some of pickleball's best pros. I'm Cameron Irwin alongside Dave Fleming. We're so glad to have you here. Dave, what can we expect in terms of strategy for these two teams facing off? So much danger at the hand of Riley Newman and Matt Wright.
There's danger everywhere. It's lurking, and they're going to want to figure out how can we get out on top in the hands battles. One of the teams may choose to slow it down because they don't like the counters coming their way. There will be a lot of dinks in the middle of the court. And there will be one team that's really loud, that's Newman and Wright, and another team that's going to be rather understated, Cam.
Understated in their trash talk, but definitely not understated in their game.
No, they've been playing fantastic all week, as we just discussed. J.W. Johnson's been on point.
And a body shot. That one might leave a mark.
The other interesting thing here strategically is Matt Wright is starting out on the left side of the court here, and Riley Newman typically is the left side player for this team, so that's something unexpected, and so was that ball coming back in the middle.
So why might that be? Why start this direction?
So they clearly feel better about one or the other in front of one of those players, and sometimes you will do something, you know, that we like to call just, you know, ghost or be the person in front of a particular player. You like that matchup better, so we'll see if that continues.
Matt Wright taking a shot. The most experienced
Yes.
on the pickleball court of these 4.
Yeah, the other thing is a dink in the middle against these two does not work now because you have both the Riley Newman two-handed backhand and the Matt Wright forehand there, so it's the outside of the court where it's safer to put the ball on a dink.
We go from one attorney to the other. Matt Wright, also residing in Wichita, Kansas.
3-1-1.
Turned pro in 2016. Full-time lawyer.
Second serve.
And I love the strategic change. I guarantee you Frazier and Johnson showed up thinking it would be the other way around, and now they have to quickly on the fly change their thought process.
Flexibility on their side in terms of right and left positions. Up 4-1 now.
4-1-2.
Just 20 and 21 years of age for J.W. Johnson and Dylan Frazier.
Second serve.
And sometimes it's hard to believe, but they were the elder statesmen in their semifinal against two 17-year-olds who we'll see in the bronze later. Whitehead and Tardeo.
J.W. Johnson out of Boynton Beach, Florida, originally Pittsburgh, Kansas. Quick hands for Team Franklin. Dylan Frazier that gets the best of a hands battle.
Yeah, Matt coming in, he loves to do that, but it's got to have pace and not find that Dylan Frazier backhand. He knew he was in trouble when it left his onyx paddle.
Dylan Frazier, of the three out there, not coming from a tennis background. One of three. Spent a lot of time on the pickleball court, even though he's only 21 years of age. Picked it up at the age of 14. His mom originally found the sport back when she was at college at the University of Missouri, where he now is also a student.
Yeah, taking econ classes remotely so he can keep his training going, but he's a very proud Tiger, as is their whole family.
Looking for the flick. These two share great camaraderie and chemistry together. Great friends off the pickleball court.
Second serve.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Cam. You heard, and we weren't surprised that Lucy and Callie in their interview talked about that camaraderie being a difference maker. And clearly in the finals, 3 of the 4 teams are teams that play together a lot, and that's what's gotten them there. The Johns brothers we talked about in between. They've not lost until this tournament, so we've seen some first dates work out okay, but knowing where your partner's going to be and put the ball is huge.
These two partnerships spend a lot of time together. And you can really see it come to fruition, especially just in terms of knowing what your partner's going to do and preparing for the ball to come back your direction.
5-2-1.
Matt and Riley have 7 total titles together. That's a number I've been saying a lot today.
I was about to say,
it's pretty remarkable that they both ended up with 7 titles coming into the day.
5-2-2.
I wonder if Lucy and Matt were like, let's see who gets to 8. Well, Lucy's already on the board, Matt.
J.W. Johnson and Dylan Frazier do have a title together this year. Came back at the Vulcan Indoor National Championships. It was Dylan's first title on the Carvana PPA Tour.
Yeah, a lot of these youngsters getting it. Was we mentioned in our live shot,
3-5-1.
Georgia Johnson got her first title here as well in mixed.
Second serve.
So would a double crown here still be
3-5-2.
just as glorious as the triple crown, even though there's no singles?
I mean, it's 2/3. I'll give you that.
Just don't want to take anything away from J-Dub.
No, I mean, you won everything they let you win, so nice job. Really close to the sideline. Dylan's trying to decide, and he's asking the referees.
Yeah, you can challenge.
It's the hard part of hitting the ball so stinking hard.
Referee timeout. We have a challenge of the in ruling. The in ruling puts us at.
So again, just to
5-4-1.
clarify what the in ruling is, a non-call by you as a team triggers an in ruling, and then you are allowed to challenge that in ruling as the team that didn't make an original call. So that's what we're going to look at here. And look at Lucy Kovalova. Does she get to relax after a 2-hour plus match? No, she's got to get over here and coach these boys up like they were. And I love that little Sparky that was sitting there. He was getting high fives beforehand. We're seeing youngsters come into this. Here's a good look at that. It'd be hard to overturn that from there.
So again, a video challenge underway here on championship court. Riley Newman sitting courtside. Former multi-sport athlete through his youth. Here's another look. Played baseball, basketball, tennis. Grew up on Whidbey Island.
Yeah, and to take the ferry to all of his practices. But good news, Mom worked for the ferry company. He had a pass, didn't cost him anything. So he's excited that we're going back to Seattle this year on the PPA Tour, which is going to be so much fun to be up there near the birthplace of this great game. So I know that Seattle crowd is going to be into it to see all these great players and to see how we know we've evolved in the last 3 years. Think about how far we've come since 1965, and there were wooden paddles in the backyard of a badminton court.
The birthplace of pickleball, Bainbridge Island. It's actually just 50 miles away from Whidbey Island.
Upon video review, the call stands. The ball was in. The challenge is lost. The timeout is lost. We'll
Call
resume play
stands.
in 5-4-1. Right, Newman serving.
Ball inbounds.
One timeout remaining. 2 timeouts remaining.
Great job, Alan Roman, our head referee there, delivering that.
Riley Newman, of course, now a
5-4-1.
resident of Dallas, Texas. He's just 29 years old. Oh, welcome to Championship Sunday.
5-4-2.
And everyone got to participate, which was nice there, Cameron. Man, that's so good.
There's the flick of J.W. Johnson. That wrist has become well known in regards to his ability to get the ball down with plenty of topspin.
Yeah, bad luck there for Wright Newman for it to go off the tape.
Second serve.
Twinkle toes, Riley Newman.
4-5-2.
Johnson and Frazier tying things up at 5 apiece.
6-5-2.
They're like the ladies played for 2 hours. We want to also.
6-5-2.
You know what I would think is a great matchup to be seen? Julie Johnson playing alongside J.W. Johnson versus Cindy Frazier and Dylan Frazier.
Let's make it happen.
The moms of both of these two. Actually a big reason why both of them found themselves in the pickleball. There's going to be questions whether this ball is in or out of bounds.
Referee timeout.
Another challenge coming. It was tough to tell from the first angle, but here's another look.
Now proceed with video review.
So you're going to have to check the baseline.
Yeah, hey, Dylan, get out of the way so we can see it, man. Really close back there. Yeah, and to just finish your point on the how we all get involved, Riley talked about how he got his start in pickleball. It becomes such a family affair. My family started with a lot of tennis, and then we just fell in love with this great sport. And it's a tribute. We all love our origin story.
Well, how about this origin story as you look at Matt Wright? Matt actually found the game of pickleball in a different kind of way. He was a tennis standout at Michigan, and he was doing some training for tennis alongside some of his buddies, and they decided they were playing with wooden paddles, and they punctured a tennis ball to be able to have a different kind of bounce on the ball. And that's actually one of their workout purposes. He said we turned it also into the game of pickleball. That was his first kind of introduction. Wooden paddles and a punctured tennis ball, and they taped the court smaller on a tennis court to be able to recreate a pickleball court. I mean, that's one of the wildest origin stories, I think, out there at the professional ranks.
I love it. It sounds very much like what the McCollums and the Pritchards did when they invented this game up in the Seattle area up there on Bainbridge Island. That ball's really tough to see because of the block from Frazier. So we'll see what our video review is there. And Alan Roman's ready to deliver the news.
On video review, the ball was out. The call stands. The challenge is lost. Timeout is lost. Resume play at 5-6-2.
The call stands, ball out of bounds.
One timeout, one timeout.
Each team left with one remaining timeout.
Time in. 5-6-2.
All sorts of different grips being used between these four.
Yeah, there's a good look at one of the most unique grips. That pancake holds it literally on the top of that paddle. Why you do not want to challenge the forehand in a hands paddle. And that's where them being used to the other way, because Riley said, ooh, I just set up Matt's forehand, but Matt's like, oh, you just set up your backhand. So not in sync there. Oh.
Nearly stealing one away is Riley Newman, one of the best defensemen in the game of pickleball.
Gotta have defense. And he's a man. Come on.
The crowd loving Dylan Frazier and J.W. Johnson.
Yeah, Riley looked right up and got nothing but the sun there in his eyes and wasn't able to go back and hit that out of the air.
You can see his left hand up in the air trying to block out the sun.
And then if you're on the other side, you see that going on and say, all right, if we're in trouble at all, throw that thing way up in the air and make them deal with that.
They do switch sides after each game.
A couple of flicks from Frazier, not catching the court as he had hoped.
And you know, almost every time Dylan Frazier shifts over to his left and tries to find the forehand, it's going to be a speed up.
Yeah, and I like the footwork there to give himself that opportunity, because that takes that middle safety area away.
Timeout. 8-6-1.
So watch out for the forehand flick of Dylan Frazier. They have the advantage here in game 1 of the men's doubles championship. The 4 versus the 2 for the men's pro doubles championship of the OGO Newport Beach doubles shootout presented by Vizzy. The Carvana PPA Tour is where all the best pros come to play. And so can you. Dylan Frazier, J.W. Johnson with a 2-point advantage.
Matt Wright loves that he is on the left side of the court, which isn't his last name, but because then that forehand can really dictate play.
When these first two, or when they first got together, there was a lot of conversation about who was going to play the left, who was going to play the right. But now as their partnership has continued and Riley has been over there more often than not. At least in 2022. In 2023, they've actually been known to shift a lot.
A little bit more for sure, and I think they know they've just hated that middle dink just being the safe zone for the opponent and not having a resource. Now, Riley's certainly working on the speed ups we talked about in mixed. He was starting to do that off the forehand, but in this case, that's not even a shot. He will have to hit.
That's what he can find out of the middle as well. On the right side is that 2-hand backhand,
which is much more lethal.
So left-hand dominant on that. He actually will play southpaw a lot, even on overheads if they're passing that left shoulder, on outstretched digs if he needs them. Catching J.W. Johnson, who was trying to hustle back out of the kitchen to get reestablished.
Yep, tag, you're in, unfortunately, for J-Dub.
Is that how it works in pickleball? Sounds like a dangerous game.
Yeah, it can be. That's what you got to do. I mean, just, it's a smart shot, but here's a game point.
Side out for Wright and Newman.
7-10-1. Point.
8-10. Riley Newman, a local favorite in Newport Beach. Riley's on the chase to find the ball.
We also saw a rare two-handed backhand sighting from Matt Wright on the third there that was well struck.
What a read, Riley Newman.
Timeout receiving team, 10-10-1.
And that's what having that special two-handed backhand enables him to do. Most players could not make that poach because they just don't even consider that shot to be something they should try. And we're knotted at 10. It's Marathon Sunday here on the Carvana PPA Tour.
10 apiece as our officials now find themselves in the center of the court. Let's take a look at the PPA Tour rankings. Colin Johns at the #1 spot. Ben Johns at the #2. There's always a lot of chat about that, but it's because Colin plays that many more tournaments.
Yes.
Riley Newman at the 3, Matt Wright at the 4. These are for men's pro doubles, and JW Johnson. So again, 3 of these 5 currently on the court for this championship match.
Just like we saw with the women's, 3 of the top 5 were there, and you know, everybody's like, how does Colin? Well, Colin lost in the final in a just absolutely epic match to Brendan Long and Mr. Electrifying Tyson McGuffin in Utah. So that's a lot of points with Pickleball, who played well by his side. So if he's going to play more and do well, he's going to have more points than his brother.
That was all on the first. It's also one of the ways Pickleball can come after you in terms of staying on it with that double side out. You have 3 points that you just dropped, and now all of a sudden you're like, man, we got to go through another server just to get the ball back.
It's the worst. You even ask, even though you know it. It's like, you're a 2, right? And like, no.
So true.
11-10-1.
11-10 Johnson and Frazier.
Second serve.
That is such a, I mean, Matt Wright has a huge overhead and just couldn't see it and just poked it back in, but that worked out.
Johnson and Frazier. Dylan giving a little extra oomph on the high five from Matt Wright at the end of that one. Matt was trying to go after him on that last ball.
He was. The ball before that, I think he had in his mind he might want to speed it up, and he didn't, and he's like, I got to on this one, and didn't make it. And here is another example of the players helping and coaching each other up. That's the back of Pablo Tejas right there.
We'll have more from the OGO Newport Beach Shootout after this. Riley Newman focused into game #2, dropping the first 10-12 alongside Matt Wright. They knotted things up at 10 apiece here in the men's doubles championship match. But ultimately it was Dylan Frazier and JW Johnson. And Dylan Frazier is moving very fleet of foot right now.
Yes, very happy young man in a hurry.
Swing out of bounds, but it's also interesting to watch this matchup as it looks like they are now trying to isolate Dylan Frazier a bit more in the dink. Throughout the weekend, teams have actually gone more to JW Johnson.
Yeah, I think Matt and Riley are going to just keep throwing it right there in the middle and let them figure out who's taking it.
Second serve. 0-1-2.
One apiece.
1-1-2. Side out.
wild to just see how many people are here on Championship Court. This venue is packed. The VIP above the video board at the back. I mean, it just speaks volumes to how much this sport is loved. Scorpion, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, just snuck in there, and Wright was hoping to get another forehand and got caught on the back shoulder. J.W. Johnson looking very good. Same pattern,
I was
same
going to say,
result.
what was that you said about J-Dub?
Thanks, J-Dub. I'll send you something.
3-1-1.
You know, and this for Wright and Newman, they're like, hey, we're going to have this different formation, and this is going to really freak them out. And I bet you we take game one, and the fact that they didn't, they have to sit with that a little bit here. And now you see on the odd, they've gone to Riley on the left for this rally. And that changes everything, because then the ball will be middle to middle all day long, because there's no fear. They know Riley's working on this forehand speed up, but their hands are so good, they're not worried about that at all. And way too high from Riley Newman there on the two-handed roll, and Johnson and Frazier are just a machine, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, their hands are so good. And yes, that's true, but they just aren't making mistakes either. They have been playing so clean all week.
Oh, that would have been the shot of the tournament if that had landed.
1-5-1. Should be wrong server. Wrong server. 2-5-1.
Make sure we have the right server in the right location.
Second serve.
Dylan Frazier, I mean, can you talk me through maybe the grip he uses and why that forehand can be so dangerous off the bounce?
Yeah, I mean, he has really perfected the ability to show you something that could be a dink, but then it's so compact, and he just fires at a specific place, and he doesn't care because his hands are good enough if he leaves it a little bit of the wrong place. And that's what makes this team even more dangerous, because now you have an area you don't want to bounce the ball. That's why they're going to be looking at the middle. And if J.W. Johnson ever adds something potent in the middle, this team is even more deadly.
Second serve.
There's a little potency from Riley Newman through the middle, and I think to the matchup, right, one of the best shots for Matt Wright is his counter on the left side, because that backhand slap. So I think trying to put that in front of Dylan Frazier was potentially the thought in the original positioning.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to shadow somebody. That's maybe what they thought, as well as the middle dink situation. So
just
you
because
got a
those
shadow.
forehands are coming from Dylan Frazier.
So you got a shadow idea, you got an offensive plan, and sometimes that all has to get crumpled up.
For now.
For now.
Matt Wright, the ATP.
So that's the difference. When they are like this and you put the ball on the outside, that's where they like the ball off the bounce. And Matt Wright, brilliant with the ATP right there. Around the post if you're new to pickleball.
Second serve.
That sat on the net cam attachment for a second there, Cam.
3-5-2.
Our production crew scurrying to try to see if they got the shot. Riley Newman, that was right in the middle of his paddle.
5-3-1.
wasting to get out of the way.
5-3-2.
Dylan Frazier is really good at covering the right side.
Yeah, I mean, this is all these dinks. You're like, why are they doing it? It's respect. You know, there's trouble coming if you speed it up. And then Riley thought he saw an opening, and that kitchen was closed by Mr. Frazier.
Most kitchens do close around 8 p.m. here in this town.
Folks, get your dinner plans done earlier. You are going to be like, what? Why is that dark? And that's 2 balls in a row where Riley got exactly what he wanted, one on each side of his body, and just didn't make it. Saw a thumbs up there from Matt.
Was biting it or if he was kissing it.
Usually you don't kiss something that just...
Well, I mean, you got to get it to work in your favor a little bit.
That's a good point, Cam.
You got to be sweet to the net. It didn't hit the net, but the last ball does go their direction.
So, in its powers of coverage of the whole court for whatever Riley did, the net sent a vibe to the rest of the court.
We're getting into dangerous territory now.
That's the end of that. Yeah, again, Riley's tried down the line. Dylan was there, so he's like, okay, I'll show you. I'm going to go to the other side of your body. And Frazier is all over the read of Riley Newman right now.
Dylan Frazier, J.W. Johnson have faced this team 5 previous times, or 6 previous times, excuse me. They've only won once.
3-7-2.
A nice drop. Riley Newman known for the lofted drop and how shallow it can become. Really soft touch on that. Matt back on the left.
He's also the receiver in most of the returns because of his prowess at the net. And his drive is not as lethal as Matt. So most teams, when they're playing against these two, will return to Riley.
Referee timeout, 7-5-1.
5-7 here for Johnson and Frazier. Right in your face on the kitchen cam. Riley Newman not being very nice to the net. Come on, bud. Riley Newman, Lucy Kovalova. Sitting courtside here in the midst of a timeout. I'm Cameron Irwin alongside Dave Fleming, Dylan Frazier, and J.W. Johnson. Just a combined age of 41 years old. I'll just say that is slightly younger than that of Matt Wright on the opposing side. Partnered up with the 29-year-old Riley Newman. But in terms of strategy, the game is just taking leaps and bounds of how this game shifts and evolves, even within one match. Now just in game 2, 7-5. How could the close of game 2 come about?
You see a lot of discussion with these two about where do they want to put the ball. They're pointing to specific corners of the court where they'd like to get it. The challenge they've had is when Riley specifically has sped it up at Dylan Frazier in front of him, Frazier has had answers all day long.
J.W. Johnson, Dylan Frazier, Franklin and Selkirk represented in their hand. I wasn't sure Matt Wright was coming back on the court.
I saw him standing on the E of Newport over there, and I thought he was just going to stay there.
Crazy is recognizing that the combinations now come from partner to partner.
Yes.
It's not just the 1-2 punch from your own speed up.
And that is so difficult. You know what you did, but you don't necessarily know what he did. And to be able to hang in there with it and have the hands be ready is why they are the best players in the world and why they're playing on Sunday.
Talked about grips a handful of times. And Dylan Frazier has even thought to maybe test out 1 or 2 different ones. With a little less experience and tennis background. As there's a unique shot over the top of the head of Dylan Frazier.
Yeah, you have players now changing grips at the kitchen line, which was thought to be unheard of. And now it's necessary. That requires such good recognition of what your opponent's doing.
Well, and you may change grips 2, 3, 4 different times in one rally now.
Which tennis players are used to from the baseline, forehand grip, backhand grip. But when you're 14 feet away from somebody, your identification, and I'm not saying tons of players are doing this yet, but plenty are. I saw Riley sort of talking to himself like, if it's up, stay back. Don't run into a problem there.
8-7-1. Second serve.
I'm not gonna lie, I would be flinching hardcore out there with these guys and how fast that ball is coming off the paddle.
This is another strategy these two could use more often, shake and bake, because you saw how good J.W. Johnson is, even fully extended there, so they were not going to let them have another chance at that.
Well, that's been an area of development for Dylan Frazier. He was actually a doubles specialist when he first came into pickleball. Picked up singles much later. Most of the tennis pros coming over now, or high-level tennis athletes, start
7-9-2
in pro singles, as it's the most similar to the game of tennis.
Yeah, so for Dylan, I didn't play tennis, so who knew that you start in singles? I'm going to go ahead and start in doubles, which is by far the most popular part of this at every park, rec center, and everywhere else this great game is played. indecision from J.W. Johnson. He was going to either roll that or cut it down, and he did something in between.
Immediately looking at the paddle is J.W. Johnson. Reminder, he already has one title on the weekend. J.W. Johnson, that's his name.
Just fantastic. Dylan got to hit one just so he was in the highlight.
Sometimes changing pace helps.
8-9-2.
Newman, willpower.
But his feet were so high off the ground, he nearly wasn't able to make the next play.
And then this disaster.
Yes. 9-8-1.
Yikes. Just gonna leave that there.
10-8-1.
Game 2 to Johnson and Frazier.
And a little issue on the other side. 2 or 3 balls in the middle of the court. Didn't get worked out very well at the end there between Wright and Newman. And it's the youngsters up 2-0. Still a best of 5. We'll have game 3 when we come back.
Johnson and Frazier up 2 games to none over the number 2 seed of Matt Wright and Riley Newman at the OGO Newport Beach Doubles Shootout presented by Vizzy. I'm Cameron Irwin alongside senior pro Dave Fleming. Dave, how'd they get it done?
Patience. And you're like, patience, but they're not trying to do anything ridiculous. They're waiting for the opportunity to counter, and their counters have been fantastic. They're not giving anything away. They're staying true. They're going to return the ball to Riley Newman, keep him off the net, and then just work it out. And they're the ones, when they have the chance to initiate, they will. That's a perfectly good point. They just didn't execute there. And Newman and Wright have decided to go back to game 1 positioning here.
Riley on the right, Matt on the left. And I feel like the difference there was a change in pace of this speed up. Now Dylan Frazier can't work as quickly back against Matt Wright if he's not giving him all the power.
Absolutely. Again, the middle has been a little bit of an issue for these two, and it was not good at the end of game 2. So they had during the timeout to get their camaraderie back together, because they talk about how much they love playing with each other.
Man, this crowd will let you feel it, won't they?
Yes. Yeah, and there's so many of them. I mean, look at that, just packed around. It's so great to see.
Matt Wright, the little levity in his game.
Yeah. That tall man come over here, the Wolverine says, get that out of here. Yeah, I think that's the other thing, is put a little more on their dinks. Just laying it in there is just letting Johnson and Frazier off the hook.
Second serve.
When you say put a little more on their dinks, what are you looking for? More spin, more pace?
Spin and just not just floating, happy that we made it.
Okay, so that's the pattern, though, that we've now seen in game 3. The slower speed up the line, and then Matt Wright sliding and shifting to stick with that backhand through the middle.
Second serve.
See if they give this to J.W. Johnson
1,
again.
2, 2.
That's staying in.
His new nickname could just be the defenseman, because Riley Newman, how? I know they don't earn this, but they sure earned the crowd and the applause.
Yeah, Mr. Off-screen, he's still playing.
We just showed a replay, and you couldn't even find him. This is just too fun to watch.
Couldn't agree more, Cam.
2, 2, 1.
Oh my. That was coming back hot.
Yeah, there's 2 good swings in a row from J.W. Johnson that have caught the net. But not a third.
J-Dub quickly acknowledging his partner there. I think they just found a hole. Holes on that Dura.
2, 3, 1.
Dura fast 40.
From Onyx. It's been a good day for Onyx so far, with Kovalova and Smith winning, with both of them using that new Onyx paddle that's coming out. Just came out, actually, the new Premier, the carbon face.
Three, 3, 1.
Thinking that might have been going wide.
Love the shake and bake from the youngsters, though. I mean, that is a
4,
good
3, 1.
play for those two.
Second serve.
Several mistinks now here in game number 3, just in the earlier stages.
Yeah,
4, 3,
Dylan's
2.
like, I want to take everything out of the air, and that one just sort of ate him up when he got rid of that decision.
Frazier and Johnson to get to this final included wins over Alshon and Hewitt. That's Christian Alshon and Rafa Hewitt.
3,
And it
4,
was
1.
Lang and de Villiers and Whitehead and Tardio. They're good buddies.
Second serve.
Just nothing on those, and then Dylan's going to redirect it and make you make a better
3,
ball.
4, 2.
That's why I really love the way they're playing today. Like, when we want to go fast and entertain the crowd, we will. Otherwise, we're going to keep the ball safe.
Newman and Wright, their path to the final
4, 4, 2.
included wins over Teoni and Johnson. Navratil and Young, as well as Stackstrud and Tejas.
4, 4, 1.
And up until this final, they hadn't dropped a game. Straight wins in each of their previous matches. Riley Newman was going head over video board right there. keep his footing. Look at this.
I mean, how much he had to stomp on that right foot not to go into the crowd and the board is unbelievable.
Second serve.
You just heard Riley say it's never windy in Newport, so it must be, you know, whipping around on that court sort of down in the hole there. You know it better than anybody can.
5-4-2.
This looks good for Wright and Newman. 2-point advantage.
6-4-2.
A must-have game.
Side out.
Matt's like, you don't return to me. What am I supposed to do over here?
He hasn't seen one of those all match.
6-1.
Johnson and Frazier, if they pick up game 3, they'll pick up gold.
5-6-1. Second serve.
Stepping into that one.
Yeah, and then went with a little deception, went
5-6-2.
inside out despite where his body was going, but didn't execute it. That's what Riley can do. He can find that forehand of Frazier, but you got to be very specific in that
6-5-1.
paddle location that he holds. You got to get it above it. He did that very well there.
Second serve.
The right move for Riley Newman.
6-5-2.
See the trees blowing in the background as
Holding out that paddle like a stop sign, Matt Wright.
crossing guard where the youngsters come in elementary school here.
7-5-2.
Watch out, noise is coming from the side of the 2 seed.
The timeout is coming from the other side. Okay. Matt could only execute putting the ball underneath his paddle over there and stepped on it.
3-point advantage to Wright and Newman in game number 3 at the OGIO Newport Beach Double Shootout, presented by Vizzy Men's Championship. J.W. Johnson, he's pretty good at that whole juggling thing. He does this on a regular basis with that Franklin paddle. Right now, they trail by 3 points in game number 3.
Yeah, you got him juggling and Dylan Frazier, Mr. Spin Artist. He's spinning his paddle constantly. You see him back there getting ready to serve, return the serve.
It's like smoke and mirrors over there. Matt Wright, Riley Newman, now a 4-point advantage.
9-5-2. Side out.
It's happened more than it should for 2 players who have played as much as they have together, but it's a different side. They've done it, but just haven't gotten that cleaned up.
Second serve.
Riley on the left.
J.W. Johnson's third percentage in this game has not been great either, so that's been a little bit of a problem. Now Dylan misses as well, so there's nothing better than making 2 returns, and that's all you had to do to get the ball back.
9-5-1. Second serve. 9-5-2.
don't see, tape don't lie.
Ooh.
Launch is good.
Oh, is there green?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Really close to the edge of that shoe.
They continue play regardless.
Point. Six, 9-1. Second serve.
Johnson and Frazier still looking to get
6-9-2.
established at the kitchen line. A big windup for Matt Wright.
He doesn't care, so that's the difference, is he knows where the next ball is expected to go before he has even made contact with the first one. It makes him so effective with that big forehand. Okay, now they're going to just run into each other.
Better to go than none.
Absolutely.
10-6.
10-6-1.
Game point.
Second serve.
Second serve.
10-6-2.
You got to think back to that last, or excuse me, the very first game. It was 12-10. Matt Wright is on the left, getting a little zealous on the speed up. We shall see. And I feel like just within the last handful of rallies, J.W. Johnson is getting more action on his dinks, putting more spin on the ball.
Yeah, and the location there was equally as good. So when you get Riley Newman panicking and sprinting back, you've done something really well from the kitchen.
J.W. Johnson making a play every inch of the court.
Timeout receiving team, 8-10-1.
Slicing ATP floats to the corner. At 10-8, gonna slow some of the action down here for Johnson and Frazier, the number 4 seed. Callie Jo Smith giving high fives. A must-have situation. What can Wright and Newman do just to get the ball back?
Good deep return here, and then just, you know, play the patterns that have been working. Obviously, when they had their 2 game points at 10-6, Matt Wright went for a couple balls, didn't make them. Got to throw that away, so I like the timeout. It's wild how we've got players. There's Fed Stacksrud, who is not playing today, sitting there alongside his friends, and that's what's interesting about the tour, the friends within friends groups that are now supporting each other. They practice together, they fight like crazy when they're on the court against each other, but they also support like crazy when one half of a duo might be out there. So here we go.
8-10-1.
Make it 9-10.
9-10-1.
the first serve.
Second serve.
The no, okay, from Matt right there.
9-10-2.
Like a velociraptor on the hunt, J.W. Johnson relying on his speed.
Is this Newport a Jurassic Park? Here we go.
10-all. And he doubles down. 11-10, J.W. Johnson on the left side. Championship point. They get it back. Oh no, this feels like game one.
Long service. 10-11-1. Second serve.
You just sit here and you go, how?
How did that take 3? I mean, that first ball's got to be
10-11-2.
done, and then there were 2 more.
Right out.
And a missed third on both sides here at crunch time.
Championship point
11-10-1.
again. Johnson and Frazier, everything is golden. Your Newport Beach champions.
And your Newport Beach king of the court is right there. J.W. Johnson entered 2 events, and he won them both. One with his sister and one with his good buddy Dylan Frazier. And to beat this team in 3 straight, I know it was tight, but that is impressive.
Just look at those scores. Game 1 to game 3, 2 12-10 situations. An incredible job by Johnson and Frazier, but also these two, you mentioned it, the number 2 seed, a tough one to have to face in the final, but just 3 games played. Matt Wright and Riley Newman are going to be thinking about this one. We'll have trophies and Hannah Johns when we come back from the OGO Newport Beach double shootout. Champions in Newport Beach, Dylan Frazier and J.W. Johnson in just 3 games played over Matt Wright and Riley Newman here on Tennis Channel. We head back to championship point. 20 and 21 years of age, Dylan and J.W. find a second title in 2023. Deke Rally.
You hate to see match point end on a dink miss like that, but that's part of the game, and their patience and their lack of mistakes and just being on point, and then their counters were just lights out all tournament long. And why not a chest bump?
The chest bump. We've also got Hannah Johns down on the court standing alongside our winners, Dylan Frazier and J.W. Johnson.
Well, thanks, Cam. I have the pleasure of standing here on court with this year's champions. Guys, what an incredible match. You were able to finish in just 3 games, but you've battled against this team so many times. You know what they bring to the table, and it really looked like you were using the middle to your advantage throughout this match. Walk me through some of your strategy.
Yeah, Matt and Riley, super tough, as always. Every time we play them, they don't give us much to work with, so we try to keep our dinks unattackable, I think, in spots where they're less likely to attack us, and it worked out well today.
Well, J-Dub, this locks up 2 titles for the tournament this week. You got the mix with your sister earlier, and now you get the men's. Your whole family is so into pickleball. Your mom's not able to be here because she's playing in another tournament. It's a family affair. Talk about what pickleball means to you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, we all love playing with each other. We all love traveling together as a family, training together, it's really special.
And you've got a bunch of friends on tour as well. I know your training group at home is so tight. That's awesome to see. Tell me about them.
Well, I want to thank our Mexican amigos over there that were helping us. One more, Gabe Tardio. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today. But it's always fun to practice with friends and family back at home. And yeah, it's really special.
Well, guys, this locks up your second title of the year together. You're young, you're hungry. There's still so much for you to do on tour. How long do you want to see yourself staying in pickleball?
As long as possible. I think lots of new players are coming in, so the competition's getting tougher and tougher, but we're going to do our best to stay on top.
All right, guys, congratulations. Such an incredible performance. With that, it's time for the trophy. Sam Flaxman from the PPA to present. Sam.
On behalf of OGO and the PPA Tour, I present the men's doubles championship to J.W. Johnson and Dylan Frazier.
Hoist that trophy, guys. Cam, take us away.
J.W. Johnson hoisting the trophy for a second time in Newport Beach. Alongside his good buddy Dylan Frazier, they pick up the men's doubles title. So impressed with their play. And just 3 games played, as you also see our women's champions now on screen. Kovalova and Smith, and an epic battle versus Coop and Bright. What impressed you the most about this weekend's play?
The pace of play, that strike first mentality. Yeah, you can dink to set yourself up, but when people see a ball they like, they pounce on it, Cameron. They're going after it. What it takes to win a rally now is unbelievable. The hand speed is better. We saw the athleticism. We saw the stamina you have to have in that women's match over 2 hours and 15 minutes. You've got to do the work off court or you will be exposed here. And these champions from today are terrific. And again, for the fans that were worried the Championship Sunday only has 2 matches, well, guess what? You got tons of great pickleball today. It was a thrill to call it.
Without a doubt. But before we leave you, this is the Carvana PPA Tour, so it's time to head to the Carvana driving home moment. It's back in the women's championship. Lucy Kovalova, Callie Jo Smith versus Andrea Coop and Anna Bright. Which point will it be? Talked about strike first pickleball. Callie Jo was offensive, then defensive. Andrea Coop just kept going ball after ball. She even put a little different spin on some of these.
And this entire match looked like this. There were so many choices.
One of the longer rallies in this matchup. Again, that's the Carvana driving it home moment on the Carvana PPA Tour. Thanks so much for joining us here on Tennis Channel. For Dave Fleming, I'm Cameron Irwin, and the rest of our Tennis Channel crew, we say so long from Newport Beach. We can't wait to see you back at the kitchen line.